For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Telta and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review on a product from Telta. So over here today I've got the Telta Core Air 260 Driveway Awning. So the Core Air is kind of one of actually Telta's newer kind of driveway awnings, something that's a bit different, fits multiple vehicles, and really nice and versatile. And kind of throughout this video we will go through all the different features of it and talk about why it's a little bit different actually probably to what else is on the market and that versatility that I've mentioned. So first and foremost, Telta, if you've not heard of them before, they are a British kind of Danish company, all about creating good, usable and breathable awnings, be it for caravans or motorhomes or campervans. So really nice, good true quality, and they're very much kind of they're almost basically the family who originally came up with camper. Then basically it kind of evolved and now have started their own new business. So the most important things of why this is different is it fits campervans. So it's a driveway awning, but feels very much like a fixed awning, but you have the flexibility of a driveway, and that's because of how it attaches to the vehicle, how the tunnel section is, and just the functionality between the two. As previously mentioned, Telta are all about having breathability. So one thing that's quite unique about this is the fact that actually we've got a little bit of a hybrid with terms of materials. So the main body, i.e. the roof and sort of the outer trim, is made from a polycotton Teltex fabric. So it's a breathable material, really nice, rugged, strong, but it allows air to pass through it. So on a warm day, it'd be a lot cooler inside, and on a cold day, it would also be warmer. Basically, the weave expands and contracts, allows air to pass through it, depending on what the weather's doing. The other thing that's good about this is the fact is you get a lot less condensation. Generally, your longevity is longer, and it's quite watertight as well. So it's going to be probably more waterproof than you'd find with just a polyester kind of material. Now, where it changes, actually, the side panels. So the two sides, the front and the back of the main body, are all polyester, and it's a 210 denier ripstop material, really nice and strong. So it's a nice to high spread actually, because quick drying helps to keep the weight down, and that's one of the things with something that's a decent size awning like this and kind of quite big physically. It actually has a remarkable pack size and pack weight, and that was the main kind of crucial things. Especially when you have a small little camper like this, space is a premium, and that's where something you don't want to have this big bulky item in the way. Admittedly, probably because it's a driveway awning, you're often only going to have it in the way when you're going down to the site. When you get there, it's the first thing you put up. So it's not the end of the world, it's a little bit bigger. But because of all the side panels completely removed, you can almost store it in two separate bags if you wanted to. Another unique feature about the Core is the fact that you have different tunnel options. So what you can actually do is actually zip different tunnels onto the main body. This is great for two reasons. One, if you change your vehicle, you haven't got to change your whole awning. But importantly as well, secondly, is when you want to drive away, you can actually unzip the tunnel section, leave the main body freestanding, and then just slide the tunnel out. So you get a better direct connection to the vehicle. It seems more seamless between the two sections. And also functionality, it works really quite nicely. And again, it's in that kind of same 210D ripstop polyester fabric. In terms of size, it's very quite boxy. You know, it's something a bit different. And even though the main body is a bit taller, we've still got a slight slope which allows water to drain off quite nice and neatly. I think it sits really well. Like I said, one thing you do what essentially is quite a small awning, it's what 260 wide by 250 deep in the main body, plus then the tunnel section, which depends on which tunnel height you go for, varies a little bit from about 30 centimeters up to 60 centimeters in depth. So it's not actually that far out, and because it's got quite a nice close fit to there. For example, on the campervan here, you're not even more than what 2.8 meters away from the main body. So again, small little campsites when you're a bit tight for space, it works really quite nicely. In terms of the tunnel options, so you have three main tunnel options. You have the sort of small campervan tunnel, which is what I've got with me here, and that will fit vehicles from basically 180 to 210. Your next one up is kind of the motorhome tunnel. So the motorhome tunnel is the same width as the campervan tunnel, i.e. 260 wide, but it goes from 240 up to 290. No, 310, sorry. So the joys of this actually is you have a zip compartment in that to expand it an extra 30 centimeters, similar to like a suitcase. Something they've done on their kind of fixed awnings as well, and it's a really nice kind of concept. So that means you get a better fit for a wider range of products. So even though it's quite a 60 centimeters in terms of adjustment, really it's down to 30. So it's going to look better when you're on that lower end of the bracket. And then if you're, you need that bit extra space, unzip it like a suitcase, get your extra spans. So that works really quite nicely as well. So small campervan tunnels, what we got here, motorhome tunnel, same width, 260 wide by 240 to 310. Or they do the large campervan tunnel, which is more for like Ducato Boxster chassis, that sort of thing. So you've got a longer sliding door. Now, this means the tunnel width is 3 meters. The main body stays the same, it just sort of splays out a little bit. So, and you have the same height bracket. So it'll again fit from 240 to basically 270 and 270 to 3 meters on that tunnel with the same expansion. So the reason this is important is because when you have those kind of Ducato vans, what you find is that's a sliding door, you need about 2.7 meters width-wise for something to completely allow the door to slide out within the tunnel section. So with the large van being 3 meters, that works really quite nicely. And again, you still have that seamless way through it. We've got a nice little brow canopy built onto the front of it as well, so it means that you can have a great bit of have a bit of ventilation with having the window panel sort of roll across, down or out. And you've got little zip pullers here, so you can create like a little veranda effect. And then buy also a veranda bar to go in there as well, but then water's not coming directly down and into it. This same front panel can not only be sort of opened, well, like I just did there, but you can also open it from sort of right to left, left to right, or if you really want to, you can zip it directly up and it will then roll up and then actually tucks underneath here as well. Of course, you can remove the panel completely and it becomes almost like a glorified gazebo because you can remove the front panel, the side panels and the panel facing into the van as well, so that's sort of between that tunnel section. The joys of flexibility is the fact you can go either side, is that even if you've got, say, like a UK van or a Continental van and your sliding door opens the wrong way, or the right way, depending on which way you look at it, it still allows you to create this natural corridor, either sort of down the right-hand side of the awning or down the left-hand side of the awning. So it's not, you don't feel like you're sort of going in one bit, round the corner to get into the van, and that'll come a bit more apparent later on in the video when we look on the inside of the actual core. Other things to make a point is we've got a single point inflation. One pump, one point here, pumps up the whole awning. You can see from our own Attwoolls pitching packing video, I think it took me the best part of probably 7-8 minutes, if that, to pitch the whole thing. So very easy to do. One person can quite happily do it by themselves. And what I did actually to make life a bit easier is I fed the tunnel section on the van first, then zipped the awning on. That way I'm not trying to lift a lot of weight into the rail. So again, that's another option you can look at, but you can, like I said, give you the flexibility to do what you want to do with it. The side panels, as you can see here, are basically they can interchange one another on one side. So we've got this lovely big window here with a slight tint to it. Then we've got a doorway. So what this allows us to do is we can actually, if we swap the panels over, the doorway would move from the back of the van to the front of the van, which I think is really quite nice because then you can come out the van and then you almost have your tables and chairs at the front and manipulate whichever way you want it to. The side panels also have a built-in mesh panel. So you can So you've got a mesh door located there as well. So that opens up. And one of, I think, is probably one of the best sort of real focus points is the fact that even though it's a small kind of awning, you have the option of adding annexes to it. I know one thing, if you compare it to say like the Isabella extension, really nice small unit similar to this, but without the functionality of annexes. And you can actually have 2 big annexes on either side if you wanted to. Telta do what they call like a large tall annex, which is almost like having an extra whole other room. And they also do their sort of sleeping annex. And the sleeping annex is again will fit a 2-berth bedroom. It can go on either side, and it has a nice small pack down size as well. So I think for the Core in particular, that model is probably really quite a good option. But mesh allow airflow in, which works really nicely. And because you've also got that kind of polycotton roof section, what you will find is actually it will feel a lot cooler in there anyway, like I said. Storm straps located on the front here as well, just to give a bit of bracing. It helps to peg the base and the guide point at the same time. I would recommend an extra additional actual storm straps to go here, just to brace it across the width. Really helps to give it bounce and braces. You get a manual pump supplied with it as standard, but you can buy an electric pump if you really wanted to. 9 psi is the recommended pressure for it. But for me, I just like how it sits, how it's really, wow, it's really quite strong. It's going nowhere, and I don't know, it just looks very clean, very tidy, very neat. And we'll tell you what, actually, let's bring ourselves inside and talk for a few more features that the Core has to offer. So now we're inside with the awning, I can probably give you a bit more of a better idea. So we actually have got kind of traditional style curtains which allow you to basically get yourself some privacy as and when you want it to. So you can also get the privacy away from the outside world. Actually, there's a little kind of a clip point that keeps it really nice and tight to the panel. One thing you can also do with the front door actually as well is if you don't want to, you can't kind of, you don't really sort of roll it back and toggle it to a point, but instead what you do is it clips back quite nice and neatly into a section. So there you go. Let's get that Velcro undone. Set our peg and point out. Should have prepped this really before I did it. Oh, it doesn't make a bit more sense. So we can unzip it, go back to kind of the halfway point. We'll just undo that peg. And then there's little poppers. Now that will actually allow you to pop the panel directly across. So it sort of folds the panel in half, keeping it nice and easy. And then you've got like your trip-free access directly into the awning itself. One thing I'd say is really quite good, I think, is the headroom height in here. I'm about 6'2", can stand up pretty much bang up in the corner here. But even into the front section, I haven't got a really, you know, I mean, I'm on the taller scale of things, but I haven't got to dip too much to get in and out of the awning itself. As previously mentioned, what we can do is we'll completely remove the panel. So what I'm going to do is just basically take it down so far and just bung it in the corner for the time being. So for the time being, we'll just fold it and chuck it down there rather than remove the panel completely, but you kind of get the idea. All a bit messy. But then you can see how it just opens up, and having that kind of open span, there's obviously no ground sheet in this section, but you can buy a breathable carpet to go in here just to make it a bit neat and tidy. And the joys of that, again, is you have those campsites which are a bit finicky about having everything kind of sewn in and not killing the grass. That's where something like this model really does sort of tick that box. We've got a divisional door that obviously shelters the awning from the main body of the awning. Now, this, like I said, can be, again, open left to right or right to left, depending on which way your sliding door opens. I've got two doors on my van, so I can open it either or. So by doing it like so, it then means that the door is recessed within the section, and then you've got a nice clean entrance way to that. Of course, if, for example, you had a door the other way around, again, you would just open that up and zip it back. And again, if you really wanted to kind of bring the outside in, and the tunnel section be a bit longer, for example, on like the motorhome or the large campervan tunnels, you can just, again, unzip that completely and remove it. And that way you've got one clean section directly into there. And actually it gives a great point about how well it fits onto the awning. You've got different methods you can look to attach to the awning. So you've got a normal 6mm beading built onto it. So if you want to go into a reamer rail or a normal C rail, you can also buy a fixing kit that will allow you to connect that onto like a wind out or a Fiamma kind of awning. Failing that, there are straps which just allow you to throw the straps over the top of the vehicle, peg it down the other side, and that kind of pull it up. And there's an area adjustment on the side here as well to try and get that tunnel section nice and taut. Like I said, when you want to come to drive away, you can just unzip the tunnel section yourself. Obviously, zip that panel back in and leave it kind of freestanding really smartly. Even though you've got a single inflation point, there is also another deflation point on the other side, so it's easy to get the air quite happily out. One thing you can also do as well is that as the air comes in, there's little isolation taps located on the top, just to help sort of segregate the areas. If, God forbid, you had an issue, you can obviously then make sure that one tube is not affected by the others. But generally the tube quality is pretty decent. You've got a 3-year warranty on the tubes, but a 2 years on the actual manufacturing workmanship. So you've got a really nice warranty built in with the product as well. Additional clips located up here, so you can buy a literal roof liner as well to basically give you an extra double glazing kind of effect. Personally, because you've got that kind of polycotton roof, It's something I don't really think you need, but it is not a bad option to have if you wanted it at a later date. And again, wherever we've got crystal clear windows, we also got privacy curtains as well, so you can get your sort of, well, shelter away from everything else. And that we've got located down sort of Velcro tabs on the beam here, which will allow you to actually have things like a stable lights or a link light system. So it allows a flood light in without sort of having like a lantern hanging down. And you've got multiple positions located directly in the roof, so you can pretty much put the light wherever you wanted to. So for me, I think either a central or there would be the best option. And then you've got little loops which allow you to take it to the corner. Again, Velcro running down the side here, little loops so you can actually run the cable in the roof section, so it's not taking up ground space and coming directly up as well. But let's pick the camera up and bring it inside and get a bit more up close and personal with some of these features. So I think actually first thing we'll do is get a bit more of a overall look around the awning. I think I like how sharp it looks. Really great. You see that sort of height difference between the main body and the section. The extra storm straps we've got on the side. But when we kind of come inside, albeit a bit raining, but you can see how snugly that fits and how much, there's not a huge amount of depth in there. So when you said you come out your awning, or the van I should say, you're coming directly into the van. You're not going through this sort of tunnel section. It helps to give you a better dry section as well against it, which is again quite important. In terms of the sort of the roof section, really nice and strong roof. Velcro tabs. That little point there is obviously for the roof liner, but it also says the height you've got in here is really quite nice. Little detailing on the tabs as well. Some this sort of stuff. It just means that it's easy to pull. There's a little bit of a texture to it, so if it's wet, you can still get a good grasp on it. Again, we've got kind of traditional kind of curtains, but they're a nicer handle fabric than it is. Nice, there you go. With it now, it's absolutely chucking down with rain. Even though I sort of stowed right at the front, that canopy is taking care of all of that, so that works really smartly. But it's just like the overall, the way it's been put together, the isolation taps, the Velcro tabs. It's just a really nice, well put together product. And I think because there's not much gap between the awning, I think it is a really nice extension of your camper van rather than anything else. God, it's really hammering down now. But again, with the mesh on either side, yeah, I think on the whole, it's a nice bit of kit. Something that looks really quite smart, has the part to it. You see how it sort of sits really well, even on the side. We've got the different sort of tunnel attachments. There's the further straps, the cater links directly in, and we've got the adjustment on the inside of things. Just to get that extra bit of tension when you need to, so you can really help it get shape and let it drain away the water properly. So as we've got a lot of rain coming down here, as a prime example, the water's basically funneling directly back and actually it's then draining off into the corner. You can probably just about see that there. So again, it's keeping it away from the main body of the awning itself. But no, it's one model we have on display at our indoor showroom. So if you ever have any more questions or queries, you're welcome to pop in and kind of see it. For me, I think it's nice to see something a bit different in terms of the awning. Sits well, is a good bit of kit. You've got the breathability factors. I think they've done a really nice combination of keeping the weight down, keeping the spec up, still got loads of features, lots of flexibility. Look at that. Couldn't choose a better day to test it. But on the whole, yeah, really impressive. And if you want more information, feel free to check the link below this video. Take you straight to our website where we've got all more information on things like the pack sizes, pack weights, floor dimensions, and everything that kind of goes with it. All the optional extras, flooring, carpet, and God, we've got some rain here now. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you again soon.